Hey, on this episode, I'm talking about how it's time for you to finally take your promised land. We're going to look at the ancient Israelites to see what we can learn. So let's get into it right now. Now, as we dive into Numbers in chapter 13 and 14 and 15, this is where the Israelites, the ancient Israelites, were given the promised land. Moses and all these, since Abraham, they all had been hearing the promise from God that they would have this promised land, the land of the Canaanites. And it was occupied by, well, we're going to find out here, by giants and by all these people in this land. And what happened was, so God brought brought Israel out of Egypt to go to the promised land, gave all these miracles in the wilderness through the Red Sea, manna, food from heaven, the quail, all these miracles. And these people come to the edge of the promised land. And what do? Well, they send in the spies to go into Canaan, and they went for 40 days, and they came back, and they brought this bad report, and they said, well, all these giants are there, and it's a big problem, and the other land is fruitful, but, we can't take it. And Caleb comes in chapter 13, verse 30, and he says, he quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overtake it. And it goes on, and they go back and forth, and the people grumble against Moses and against Aaron, saying, hey, you brought us out of Egypt. At least in Egypt we had food, and we're out here to die and all this. And they come back and says, Moses and them, they say to him, only do not rebel against the Lord. Do not fear the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their protection is removed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. And so this was actually what Joshua and Caleb were saying. He says their protection is removed from them. So why is there a reason to have fear? There's no reason to have fear, because God gave them the promised land. God said it is theirs. But you know what? They did not add faith to what God said. They did not trust what God said. And what happened? They rejected it, and only Caleb and Joshua were to enter the promised land. They went around for 40 years in the wilderness until that whole generation died off, and not one of them entered the promised land. And all they had to do was trust what God said. And so now I want to turn to you. What is it for you that God has promised you? Or what is it that's a dream that's in your heart, that's your promised land, that is the land you are to take? What's before you right now? What is within your sphere of influence that is something that you need to just take a move, that you need to stop waiting for someone to invite you, stop waiting for someone for these perfect circumstances to come? What is it? What is it that you can take the step with right now, that you can stop waiting and you can stop not adding faith to what you know in your heart and in your spirit that God has called you to do? What is it that you can finally take that step on today? Well, I want to encourage you to take that step. What is the exact next step that you can take in whatever area it is? Is it something with your career? Is it something with your family? Is it something with a relationship? Is it, what is it that you're just putting up with that you don't need any more information? You've got plenty of information. You know what to do. If somebody came to you in that area, you would have the advice to give them. You would know exactly what to tell them. Well, it's time to take our own advice. And trust me, I'm hearing this message for me as well. There are many things coming to mind and a few specific things that I'm going to be taking action on following this very episode. So what is it for you? I hope you will take that action today. And be sure to go to ryanshoward.com, send me a note, and let me know what that was, and let me know how I can help. Thanks for listening. God bless, and we'll see you in the next episode.